Michael Snyder is the culture blaster on YouTube. He's also on Twitter. You can find him, used to be able to find him at the Royal Grounds there on Polk Street, scribbling out his reviews for the Marina Times. You can find him at marinatimes.com. He's our guy in all things culture. He's Michael Snyder. What happened to the, I thought we usually bring him in with a harp. Oh, thank you very much. Michael Snyder. Oh, I love it. He always comes in.
Hey, that's much better. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still having a tough time deciding whether the current administration and its enablers are more treasonous or more seditious. It's so hard.
Yeah, it is tough, isn't it? Yeah.
All this fuss about awarding the president. He's awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom to all these unworthy people. But be advised, we're all going to get a Presidential Medal of Freedom on January 20th, right?
Oh, there you go. I see what you did there. Yeah. Very well done.
Hey, freedom from the current president. It's going to be great. So anyway.
All right.
You want to get down to some movies, gentlemen?
Yeah.
And ladies?
Get down to it, man. Come on.
All right. Okay, I want to kick off with a film that's one of my top 10 of 2020, finally getting streaming access out there. And if you want to check out my top 10 movies of 2020 and ancillary lists of good films, you can do that at marinatimes.com. But
Hang on. Hold on. Albert's waving at me. What? Oh, ancillary. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much. That's an SAT word. Go ahead, Michael. He's always
okay,
good for
anyway,
yeah.
Promising Young Woman, anchored by a very complex, seductive, and unsettling turn by Carey Mulligan. Promising Young Woman is a thoroughly assured first feature from screenwriter-director Emerald Fennell. It's a darkly comic, really tense examination of the damage done by toxic masculinity, Mark. Remember, we got to avoid that. Anyway.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
It's couched as a tale of revenge.
You got to take care of the man.
No, you don't got to take care of the man. Go. Can you let him speak? Go ahead, Michael. It takes place where?
An assault on her best friend and fellow med student causes Mulligan's character, Cassie, to drop out of school and sends her on a crusade to exact payback and redress the power balance between men and women.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
Parents, who, by the way, are played by Jennifer Coolidge and Clancy Brown, two wonderful character actors, and her boss, played by Laverne Cox of Orange is the New Black, and her boss oversees a coffee shop where Cassie works, and she's starting to duck out from work and pursue her plans. Anyway, fine company of supporting actors, including Connie Britton, Allison Brie, Alfred Molina, and Mulligan really makes good here on the promise of her work in the period coming-of-age comedy and education and in Far From the Madding Crowd. You can see Promising Young Woman via Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, and Vudu.
That sounds great. I'm on that. Go ahead.
Fan. I know you're a Tom Hanks fan, Mark. I know you are. I know because you're an everyman yourself. And I know you probably try to follow the Tao according to Hanks. And Hanks...
You got to take care of the man.
Right.
A new movie called News of the World, where he plays a solid, reliable, and noble individual. Surprise! Anyway, it's his first Western. And here he's a former Civil War captain who 5 years after the Union's victory travels to various towns and settlements in Texas and thereabouts to read the news at gatherings of eager citizens who are willing to pay a dime apiece. And along his route, he encounters an abandoned white 12-year-old girl played by a very impressive newcomer named Helena Zengel. And this girl has been orphaned and raised by the Kiowa tribe. And she's orphaned again when her Native American father is killed. So no one else is willing to shepherd this wild child across dangerous territory to her only living relatives, a German uncle and aunt. So the captain takes on the responsibility in typical noble Tom Hanks fashion. And his grizzled loner nature is softened by a growing parental concern. Anyway, look. This is directed in very sure-handed fashion by Paul Greengrass, who previously worked with Hanks on Captain Phillips. Is it great? Yeah, I don't know. Is it very good? Yes, it is. News of the World with Tom Hanks, available via Amazon Prime Video and Vudu. I've got something very special coming out today, and you can watch it on Amazon Prime Video. And I feel great that I'm touting top drawer films this weekend, but One Night in Miami is a dramatization of a remarkable gathering that occurred in 1964 on the night that Cassius Clay won the World Boxing Championship from Sonny Liston. After the bout, Clay was on the verge of announcing his conversion to Islam and changing his name to Muhammad Ali, but before that happened, he purportedly gathered with his mentor, Malcolm X, who was a leading light in the Nation of Islam religious order, legendary NFL running back Jim Brown, who was about to start up a movie career that might impact his playing time with the Cleveland Browns, and superstar smooth soul singer Sam Cooke, already quite well-to-do from a string of massive hit records that still standards today. There were a few setup scenes and some side trips, but One Night in Miami is mostly a hang with this quartet of African-American icons in Malcolm's motel room. And far from being static, the movie is a witty, revealing four-way conversation on race, fame, religion, social justice, activism, and personal responsibility. The script was adapted by screenwriter Kemp Powers from his own acclaimed stage play, and very well directed by the wonderful and versatile actress Regina King, who assembled a fab four actors to play the four luminaries. Kingsley Benadir is this fiery, noble, troubled Malcolm X. Leslie Odom Jr. of Hamilton is Sam Cooke, with Odom singing as beautifully as you'd expect from a Broadway star. Aldous Hodge is tough, analytical, and no-nonsense as Jim Brown. And Eli Gorey is absolutely terrific, nailing his portrayal of Cassius Clay. That could have easily been caricatured, and it isn't at all. They're amazing, as are a few familiar faces in the supporting cast, including Michael Imperioli and Beau Bridges. By the way, Kemp Powers is on a real roll. This is the guy who co-wrote and co-directed Pixar's Delightful Soul. And as great as Soul is, Powers should be just as proud of One Night in Miami. And kudos to King and her actors to Amazon Prime Video for One Night.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds good. Is it a true story, though?
Yeah.
They say it is, and obviously it's been dramatized, and I'm sure that Powers took liberties, but apparently the four guys knew one another and met up, got together. Whether it is or isn't, again, this conversation on this variety of hot button issues works like a charm. Okay.
Well, we care about whether it is or isn't, Michael. I mean, you may not, but on this show we have a strong sort of allegiance to verity and truth.
That's not fake. That's real.
Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Go ahead,
wait.
Michael.
Jim Brown consulted on this movie, so let's take it for what it's worth.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'd call the period drama The Delivered, also known as Fanny Lie Delivered, the British equivalent of one of those dark claustrophobic westerns where there's some kind of siege at a Wyoming ranch, like in the 1800s, or maybe a family captured by outlaws and hauled off to the gang's hideout and tormented. But The Delivered is set in rural England during the year of someone's Lord, 1657, and it's about a family of Puritan types, pious but cruel husband John Lie, his beaten-down wife Fanny Lie, and their hapless young son living an austere life on their farmland until a randy and dangerous young couple pull off a home invasion. On top of all that, there's a corrupt area sheriff and his craven deputy, and they're on the lookout for a man and woman accused of depraved acts. I wonder who the man...
Wow.
who could it have been? Anyway, although the misty farm setting gives the film's spooky, dreamlike air, a kind of seductive quality, the actors, including Game of Thrones' Charles Dance as John Lie and Maxine Peake at her peak as Fanny Lie, they are on fire. Based on actual historical figures, particularly proto-feminist Fanny, The Delivered is just a crackerjack piece of filmmaking by writer-director Thomas Clay, and you can see it on Apple TV. Do we have time for quickies, real quick ones?
First of all, Brett wants to know if it's a true story.
I understand that Fanny Lie and Cassius Clay were an item back in the day.
Yeah. That's not fake. That's real.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Go ahead, Michael. Yes, we have time for a couple of quickies. Real quick,
Okay.
though,
Okay, one of the better horror or fantasy thrillers I've seen in ages. The Call is a Korean reimagining of the British movie The Caller, and it concerns a young woman who has dealt with personal tragedy and finds an old landline phone inside a cubbyhole in the family home. The hook is that when the phone rings and the woman picks it up, the call is from the same phone in the same house 20 years ago. And to say more would
great
be
concept.
so spoilery. I just can't say more. The Call is awesome, though. Although you can get a dubbed version, I recommend watching it in the original Korean with English subtitles on Netflix.
Now, that's not real, right?
And
That's not
Shadow
fake.
in the
That's
Cloud is
real.
a B-movie fun fest mixing a World War II aerial dogfight action movie with a creature feature. You remember the Bugs Bunny cartoons from World War II where Bugs is flying a fighter plane and encounters a gremlin, one of those mythic creatures said to destroy aircraft back in the day? Well, replace Bugs Bunny with Chloe Grace Moretz, the young actress, and you have Shadow in the Cloud. I enjoyed it a lot. A great Saturday night diversion available on Amazon Prime Video, Vudu, and Fandango now. And quickly, WandaVision starts on Disney Plus today. And if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it is a must-see. And even if you're not, it's pretty hilarious as Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and her significant other, the Vision, a synthezoid, find themselves trapped in sitcoms. From episode to episode, this show has them thrust into various kind of, archetypal sitcoms like I Love Lucy and Bewitched. And the question is, what's happening and why is it Marvel Cinematic Universe adjacent? Terrific performances by Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda and Paul Bettany, very funny as the Vision, as a hapless sitcom husband. It's on Disney Plus, WandaVision.
Wow. This is what I like about Michael. He's a comic book nerd and an animation nerd and a movie nerd and a music nerd. I mean, it's just, I can't believe all this exists in that one head. Like, and he'll tell you about this Korean film. And he said, you should watch it with the, with the English subtitles. And that same guy who's in that like high-end thing. I'm sorry to talk about you when you're on the line in front of us, but I'm just so impressed. And then he'll tell you about the superhero stuff, which he's way into. So it's really good. Anyway, to review, A Promising Young Woman. And that's Amazon and News of the World, also on Amazon and Vudu, I think you said. One Night in Miami, The Delivered, and then Shadow in the Cloud, The Call, and WandaVision. I think that's everything. The whole list.
That's about it.
Does it exist somewhere if people want this list? And I just gave it to them again. I guess, I don't know. They have to jot this stuff down while you're saying it, I suppose.
The list will be attached to a link to this segment on Twitter, among other places, at Culture Blaster.
Yeah, he is at Culture Blaster. He is our guy on movies and all things entertainment. We love him, and he's here every Friday. He is there in the Marina Times. He writes the Coastal Commuter column. Michael Snyder! Bye, Michael!
Hey, guys!
All right, have a great week and weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.